Our special guest tonight is Pavel Latushko, Deputy Head of the United Transitional Cabinet of Belarus. That is the Belarusian government in exile. Good evening.
Good evening.
So first I'd like to ask you about Putin's visit to Belarus. What should we make of it, and what's the international context of it? Because last week Putin visited Beijing, now he's in Minsk. So what should we make of it?
Putin came to Belarus to show everyone he's in control of its territory. Lukashenko is like his puppet, doing whatever Putin says. The nuclear exercises in Belarus are a threat. Putin is using them to scare the West into stopping their help for Ukraine. He also wants to disrupt the negotiations in Switzerland. Lukashenko, as Putin's loyal ally, plays a clear role: producing weapons for Russia, destabilizing the situation on Belarus borders with European Union countries by sending migrants to their borders, and engaging in sabotage within European Union member states. The recent arrival of Yanukovych, today's arrival of Yanukovych in Belarus, suggests the possibility of political declarations and actions aimed at fulfilling Russia's imperial ambitions to unite Belarus and Ukraine under its control, to show Ukrainians that they have no more legal authorities.
Mm-hmm. I see. You mentioned these acts of sabotage. Lately we had this case of former Judge Tomasz Schmidt defecting to Belarus under the wings of Lukashenko's regime. So what do you think? How big is the scale of the infiltration of Poland, of West in general, by Belarusian and Russian spies? And as you mentioned, these acts of sabotage, should we expect more of them this summer?
It seems to me yes, because Schmidt, first of all, he is like a piece of discarded chewing gum, flavorful today, bland tomorrow, and eventually gone. He will be just spat out. He is being used for propaganda today and as a source of information today, but he's already lost access to information from Poland, and his services soon won't be needed. Now he might be of interest of Russian intelligence agencies. Even Lukashenko hinted at this, mentioned that Putin and inquired about Schmidt. But of course, special services are more and more active on the territory of European countries. It's their role to destabilize situation inside of European Union. They received more money for doing this job. And because, why? It's the main reason that now we have a war, a real war initiated by Russia with supporting of Lukashenko, war against Ukraine. So the goal to destabilize situation using spies, using intelligence services, using different agents in the territory of European Union.
Mm-hmm. Do you suspect where these acts of sabotage may take place?
Oh, it's difficult for me to answer this question. Of course, no, I have no such information. We know that they're using illegal migration to destabilize European borders. They're using border to send more and more agents to the territory of European Union countries, to Poland, for example. Of course, they're organizing this. Wagner Group, it's currently stationed in Belarus, maybe not so many as it was last year, but today they are responsible for training Belarusian special forces and internal troops. But we have received information that several Wagner officers have obtained Belarusian passports, enabling them to enter neighboring countries, both legally and illegally. Maybe I can say that we can see increase in activity from both Belarusian and Russian intelligence agencies. And again, why it's happening? Because there is a political task from Lukashenko and the Kremlin. They want to demotivate the society of neighboring countries to help Ukraine. They also want those countries to spend more and more on their own armies and defense. It's normal, it's understandable. But we have received information that Russian intelligence offices are obtaining also Belarusian passport. The true extent of Belarus's spy network is difficult to evaluate, but the increased resources allocated to it suggested a heightened capacity for operation within Polish territory.
It's, by the way, strange that that Russian spies need to obtain now Belarusian passports in order to operate in Europe. Wouldn't you agree?
Because it's difficult to enter to European Union with Russian passports. So
absolutely. Absolutely so, on legal terms, of course. Now, about legal affairs, you're about to conduct elections to the Belarusian government in exile. And I guess the regime of Lukashenko is trying to make an impact on your actions. So, how is the regime in Minsk trying to meddle in your affairs?
We plan to have elections, a first direct election to our representative body, Coordination Council. We plan to organize them 25th, 27th of May. We're focused on strengthening three key institutions of democratic forces of Belarus: the President-elect Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, the Belarusian government in exile, executive body, and the Coordination Council as a representative body of Belarusian society, democratic forces. And we will elect them to May 25th, 27th. Now, Lukashenko fears an alternative. It's very important. He fears an alternative. That's why this week alone, he initiated 257 criminal cases against all individuals involved in the election campaign, all members of the election campaign. He has publicly threatened to seize our property and, as the next step, oppress members of our families. Currently, over 25 members of my team, my coalition, are being attacked by Lukashenko's security forces. My daughter's apartment, which belonged to my parents, has been confiscated. Criminal cases have been opened against both me and my daughter. I've lost count of how many I'm facing. The threats are numerous. Phone calls, for example, from the KGB offices, offers of money and collaboration for members of our team. If activists refuse the offers, they threaten to detain our parents. Unfortunately, some of our loved ones have already been arrested. We face constant and systematic threats of violence, even murder. So it's strategy to demotivate us to participate in elections, demotivate us to create a strong bodies.
Well, threats are one thing, but were there any attacks on the Belarusian opposition in exile?
Not yet, but risk of attacks rather high. And we have examples of messaging for us using emails or, for example, from the unknown persons during different actions inside of the country, for example, the territory of Poland. As I said, phone calls, they sending comments in YouTube, in Facebook, in Instagram. They are telling that your future is together with Navalny, for example, or together with Nemtsov and Navalny, etc. It's more than 100 threats, real threats, for example, which I received last years.
Right, but how does it make you feel about your mission?
I want to win. So that is why I'm struggling. I'm still struggling. I want to change situation in my country. I'm looking future that we will have democratic state. According with the last sociological database, it's 66% of Belarusians want to live in democratic state. And it's motivate me. Only 2% of Belarusians want to be as a part of Russian Federation. So 98% want to have independent state. So that is why I'm for the strategy based on two lines, two directions. First of all, I understand the governments of neighboring countries when they invest money to have security for their countries, population, but very important to have a strategy how to support democratic movement and democratic society in Belarus. And we need to have here a strong step-by-step strategy, supporting independent mass media, supporting democratic society, invite Belarusian for the education European countries, more visas, not close the cross-border points, and etc., etc. And of course, responsibility of Lukashenko. Everybody, wait, when Lukashenko will receive arrest warrant? As a martyr? As a criminal?
But it, well, clearly shows me by what you said before, that you're being watched by Belarusian spies, that you are a true alternative to regime in Minsk, and they are clearly afraid of you, not without a reason.
All dictators afraid alternative, and that is why it's so important for us to have these elections, to elect our representatives, to have this coordination council like our parliament or so-called parliament, representative body. So that is why it's very important for us to support President-elect, to develop, to have a stronger executive body, cabinet in exile. So all dictators, they afraid alternative. And they will be important, of course, in the transit period in Belarus. They are important for us today to struggle to support Belarusian diaspora, to motivate Belarusians inside of the country, that we not stop our struggle for democracy.
Let me then wish you all the best in your endeavors. Pavel Latushko, Deputy Head of the United Transitional Cabinet of Belarus, or Belarusian government in exile, if you will, was our guest tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.